Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful elect. This is your brother Dawadah from the Men of Valor campaign in Greenville, South Carolina, coming back with another video in sincerity and in truth and Lord willing to keep you edifying. And just a real quick video through the spirit. I was just watching this YouTube video. I shared it with bros in the chat. And it wasn't a brother that was going into it, but it was just like a YouTube channel, but they were going into most of the video clips was about the so-called black woman, and she was actually admitting and speaking on the fact that, you women, you think if you want a good man, if you want a man that's solid, that has his shit together like most women actually do, all right, more than likely you're gonna have to share that man because you're not the most qualified, nor are you the only option for that man. All right, and that, a couple years ago, people would have been scoffing at it, talking shit. All right, but now that Esau's starting to take his little goodie bags away from Eve, they're starting to actually consider, like, wait, okay, maybe, there's a number disconnect. All right, because when you look at the raw numbers, all right, hey, women already outnumber men. So then you take into consideration how many of these men are on the DL, how many of these men are actually solid guys, how many aren't in jail, all right, you're going to find out that most of these men already are dealing with women. You're not going to just find a single guy, and, unless you find a man of the Lord that's just focused on the Lord, which, hey, there are brothers out there, but they're, few and far between. But if you think you're going to just find a guy and he's just everything that you want and he ain't dealing with no type of woman, like another woman isn't trying to get with him, then you're sadly mistaken. All right, and now these women are starting to at least, maybe consider that ever so slightly. Now, they're still not going to buck up. I mean, they're still going to buck up at it until, all of the resources have been completely depleted. All right, the whole, basically how this whole structure, especially over here in the Western world, is set up for women's lives to be made easier. They might not try to say it's easier, but it's definitely easier, okay? With social media, with how these jobs are, they can live on their own, they can live a city life. That's where you get the term city girls from and shit like that. They live this city life, and until that gets taken away, they won't fully understand, like, damn, I really do need a man. All right, but now they're actually starting to consider it. With everything else going on, and we seeing the Lord's prophecies come to pass, all right, this one right here, Isaiah 4:1 that I got queued up, is another one that's going to be, it's going to hit heavy, and it's going to be a sign that we're at the end. All right, and it's not about, and brothers have come to the realization, especially as of late, it's not about just having a bunch of damn women, man. Yeah, as men, we grew up in a society that was, where we're sexually deprived. All right, they try to make they put women on the pedestal, all these women on social media and shit. But brothers have already said through the spirit that it was more about, the resourcefulness and the women making an atonement for their shame and their reproach. Okay, because again, they drunk Esau's Kool-Aid for many decades, saying, especially our women, the women of our nation, so-called Black, Latino, Native American women, have been rebellious toward their men, saying, oh, the black women, the most vocal, I don't need no man, I don't need no nigga. Well, now you're starting to see, all right, because you had guys like Kevin Samuels and stuff on the scene tell you gonna get a dog and die alone, man. But now these women starting to actually see it, because men aren't going for, single mothers like that anymore. Men aren't going for, they respecting themselves a little more, just a little bit. They're still not men of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, but we're seeing that shift. All right, and as the economy continues to go down, you're going to continue to see these women consider, like, oh, wait a minute, and a lot of them are already dealing with multiple men. Like, they were in this video, they were bringing up different scenarios, like, hell, you'll have a guy, he'll have like 3 different baby mothers or something like that, and here it is, they'll be fighting with each other Why not come together? You know, y'all already, and more than likely, one if not all of them are still dealing with that dude, knowing that he got other children with other women. So why not just bring them all under a banner? Esau pushed this monogamy shit because first of all, he can't, look at the numbers. He can't reproduce like Jake can reproduce. All right, so it was a population thing. But also, having that household, bringing everything back to how the Lord set it up for a family to be a business and not these outsourced corporations and whatnot, it would actually bring power to your households and your community and your nation. But, Esau don't want that shit, man. And that's why we await a new heaven and a new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness, right? But nonetheless, like I said, I was watching this video. It was something on my spirit. We're going to bring it out, man, because it's been something that, brothers have been speaking on concerning anti-prophecy for a while, but putting it in retrospect, again, you got to understand why it would be happening, all right? Hey, people going to be through as hell out here. So women naturally are going to try to find the most stable man, to and get up under them, and they're not going to care. It's going to get so bad out here that they're not going to care that they're not the only woman. That's the point of the video. They're not going to care. All right, it's just not going to be about like, oh, I look at all these bitches I got, man. Nah, man. All right, you're going to be somebody that's stable, that's solid. And we're talking about the men, all right, that the Lord is setting up for this. You're going to be a man that has that wisdom, knowledge, understanding to maneuver around these times where other men don't have it, and these women definitely won't have it. So women are going to naturally gravitate toward those men. And again, the point is, it's going to be such a change in environment, such a change in society, economically, as far as morally, all that shit, man. It's about to get so bad out here that women are going to be like, I don't mind sharing a decent dude, man. All right, they're going to have to swallow their pride. So let's go ahead and bring it out. Isaiah chapter 4 and verse 1. And in that day, right, the days that we're approaching, all right, we're seeing what's going on with these protests. We're seeing that Iran could be going to war with Israel and America. Shit, at any hour now, man. They're talking about, they're preparing this shit. All right, we're at the cusp of World War III. So we know we're at the cusp of the other prophecies coming to pass. And this is another prophecy that's tied into end time prophecy of how the social dynamics are going to completely switch up. All right, from women going around and being all selective and shit to now they're going to try to find a man that's going to help ensure their survival. All right, and that the number one man that can do that is the Israelite man that's serving you. How about Shem Yahushua? All right, so it says, in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. So they want to be called by that man's name, meaning they want to be impregnated by that man. All right. And the scripture says she shall be saved in childbearing. So that's how our women are going to get up out of here. All right. Because the Lord is going to save women of our nation. And they might not have been the perfect virgins and stuff like that. There will be virgins. The Lord has them preserved for us. But hey, we weren't a perfect. All right, we weren't perfect Israelites when the Lord called us in the truth, man. All right, so that's going to apply to these women as well, man. That's just the balance of the matter. All right, but you still going to have to come in a certain way. You still going to have to humble yourself, in the sight of your man. All right, because he is your Lord. And if you don't want to get with it, just like how these women had that sentiment of what you won't do, another nigga will. Exactly, what you won't do, another man will. Another man will. So, that's where we are right now. They're going to want to be called by that man's name. Please get with us. Lie with me. So they reproach can be lifted so they don't get mocked as old maids, man. Because, hey, you got these chicks walking around 24, 25, older. They ain't got no kids. Esau didn't push his career life onto him. He didn't push his whole way of life onto him. And now when society breaks down, they ain't got no family. They ain't got no husband. They're going to be Esau going to abandon their ass, man. You going to have the troops on the ground. So they're going to look for some protection. So they're going to naturally gravitate toward the men who the Lord is making more precious than fine gold, even the golden wedge of Ophir. That's where Isaiah 4:1 is coming, And we're seeing it on low levels now. But Jake still be doing everything in fucking error, man. Like, there's this black polygamy channel I follow on Facebook and some shit. And they always on some weird shit. They always, you got the women kissing on each other. The Lord didn't create it to be like that. you know. So even Jake can't get that shit right. You know, we're the only ones that can actually move with that order. And that order is going to shine when disorder is rampant on the earth, man. All right, so I just want to speak on that through the Spirit. Lord willing, it was edifying. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shah, by Hashem, Kakradash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful elect. Till next time, Shalom.